You know me, SDMT. Big news right here, man. Let's get it. But before we do, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications, man. This is huge right here, man. JJ Watt announced on his IG he was the source that he signs with the Arizona Cardinals, man. This is huge. A lot of people didn't see this coming, but the Cardinals are a young and very talented team on the rise. You know what I mean? You look at what they got in that defense, you know what I mean? They have a solid defense, you know what I mean? They were 13th in the league last year. They gave up, 22 points a game. So we look at him adding J.J. Watt to Chandler Jones, you know what I mean? And, Isaiah Simmons and Buddha, and then, we're going to talk about Patrick Peterson in this podcast as well. Will he return? You know what I mean? We're going to get into that, but this is a key move for the Arizona Cardinals. When we look at that NFC West, man, I've been saying for a long time, that's the best division in the NFL. It's the most competitive. You look at the Niners, you look at the Seahawks, Cardinals getting better. You know what I mean? Rams, you already seen what they've been able to do up and down. So there's a lot of, strong defense in that division, you know what I mean? And seeing what the Buccaneers had on defense, a lot of teams starting to load up, you know what I mean? And the Cardinals ain't playing around. They get J.J. Watt. They signed him to a 2-year deal. Deal is worth $31 million. Now he gets $23 million in guarantees, so that's huge. You always got to pay attention to the guaranteed money in these NFL contracts because, players may never get the full total in that $31 million. So we look at that. That's huge right there. You know what I mean? Hassan Reddick, this pretty much means that he's a free agent and he likely won't be back. You know what I mean? And he was a key player. He had 12.5 sacks, you know what I mean, for the Cardinals. So they definitely, every time you gain something, you're going to lose something. You know what I mean? So, J.J. Watt, I think, is going to be a huge part of that team. He has that experience. He has hard work ethic, a leader. And a team like that, adding another quality, experienced leader is going to be huge for the Cardinals, man. If I was a Cardinals fan, I would be lit, man. I know you Cardinal fans are hyped, as you should be, because you added somebody that is just quality player on and off the field, what he does on the field and what he does in the community. J.J. Watt he's awesome, man. He's awesome, and the Cardinals are lucky to have him. You know what I mean? He's only averaging about 15 to 16, 15.5 to 16 mil per year, so he didn't break the bank, but he's still getting paid good money. You know what I mean? He's still getting paid good money. Now, we look at that, Chandler Jones, you know what I mean? He was really hyped. He had sent some messages to JJ saying that, he would, be a chef, you know what I mean, if he signed with the Cardinals. So Chandler Jones, you better be chefing up some meals for JJ Watt. You know what I mean? The Cardinals sent a private jet out for him and his girlfriend and his family. So that's huge right there. And, we look at the Cardinals, man, like, this is a huge pickup. This is huge. That NFC West is going to be even tougher. And then who knows what Seattle's going through with Russ and if he returns, or, you know what I mean? It's a lot going on. You know what I mean? The 49ers definitely are watching this, and they really need to do something this offseason to improve that team. Thinking that they have enough, I don't think is enough. You would especially see the moves these other teams are making. You know what I mean? So we look at that. I do want to talk about Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson spoke a few weeks ago about the rumors of saying that he didn't want to be with the Cardinals and that the organization said that. He said he hasn't said he doesn't want to be a Cardinal. His contract does expire this month with the end of the league year, the start of the new league year. But and they haven't had contract talks yet. But when we look at it, Patrick Peterson's value right now is not at its highest, and his team is actually, starting to get good. They're building for a future. They got Kyler. They have a lot of, it's a lot to be happy about, and a lot to look forward to. And they, he finally has a star quarterback. They have a solid offense. They got DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean? DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt also get to reunite in Arizona. That's huge. Teammates. You know what I mean? I definitely think DeAndre Hopkins had something to do with that. I definitely think he talked to JJ and helped convince him to come to the Cardinals. You know what I mean? But, let's come back to Peterson. So when we look at Patrick Peterson, at this point in his career, he gets to play on a solid Arizona team. Now, will he have to take a hometown discount to be on his team? Yes. You know what I mean? he's still a solid corner, but he's definitely, you know, you don't say he's the best corner in the league anymore. He's a solid corner. He does his job. He's definitely an elite corner, but he's definitely not in his prime any longer. So I would think the best thing for him to do is to stay with the Cardinals. Yeah, he can probably make more money and go to a bad team, but you know what I mean? I think he's been on enough bad teams in his career, and he's ready to win. You know what I mean? And the Cardinals look like they can compete, man. They can compete, and I think with J.J. Watt, that just really helps them out, and this helps out J.J. Watt as well because, you know, he's been playing on some bad teams. You know what I mean? And you know, it was rough with the Houston Texans. We're going to get into Deshaun Watson soon. But I mean, the Texans are a horrible ran organization. So, you know, we got to get into that a little bit later. But I'm happy for J.J. Watt, man. The Cardinals, hopefully they can bring back Patrick Peterson. They have a lot of key defensive parts. So that was a huge pickup right there, man. J.J. Watt to the Arizona Cardinals, man. A lot of people thought he'd go to the Steelers with his brother. They thought he'd go to the Packers because he's from Wisconsin. They thought, you know, maybe the Buccaneers because they be getting everybody. A lot of people had their thoughts, but he ends up going to the Cardinals, you know what I mean, to play and reunite with DeAndre Hopkins. Should have saw that coming. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is we need to free Deshaun Watson, man. Free him, man. Free Deshaun Watson. We got the T-shirts. We screaming it, man. We screaming it because we need to get him out of that horrible organization. You know what I mean? Deshaun Watson met with the coach, the new coach, and he told him he has no plans on playing for the Houston Texans. He's putting his foot down, and he's letting it be known that he's not trying to, you know, come to camp. He's not trying to play, and he wants to be traded. You know what I mean? And I like it. You know what I mean? I like the power moves that these quarterbacks are being able to make. You know what I mean? I'm a Lions fan. Matthew Stafford told the Lions that he was ready to move on. He was under contract, but they did the right thing and let him go. You know what I mean? And so here we are. You know what I mean? Deshaun Watson, our brother, it's his time. You know what I mean? He wants to move. And I like it. I like it. You like the Houston Texans, what they've done, you know, getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and not, you know, letting Deshaun Watson know about it. He has to find out through the press. And then also, you know, them not allowing him to, you know, have input on certain hires of GMs and coaches, especially after Bill O'Brien, you know, dismantled that whole team and organization. You know, that's huge. You know, your quarterback, your franchise quarterback is a major player these days. You know, they pay them NBA player money. You know what I mean? Some, you know, over that. You know what I mean? So they have a large stake in these teams. So they should have a say. Even Russell Wilson said he believes quarterbacks should have a say and have input on coaching hires to see if they're truly football guys. So imagine if the Texans would have had, you know, Deshaun Watson or DeAndre Hopkins or somebody just, you know, a part of that interview process with Bill O'Brien. Maybe they could have saved them from a lot of heartache. You know what I mean? Maybe we look at the Texans team, man, you know, they need to just blow it all up and rebuild. They need to blow it up and rebuild. Bill O'Brien was a horrible, you know, hire. And the GM, you know what I mean, and the owners have been not the best. They've done some shady things themselves and said some shady things. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean, I just really hope that Deshaun Watson can get out of there. You know what I mean? The 49ers, y'all should make a play. There's reports that the Carolina Panthers are trying to make a move for Deshaun Watson. The Miami Dolphins, they have a lot of draft picks, so they can make a move for him, you know what I mean? So, and that team was pretty solid. I'd hate for them to do that for Tua. I'm a big Tua fan, but I am really not a fan of the way Flores handled Tua by taking him out all the time, messing with his, you know, his development as a QB, and I think they really set him back. You know what I mean? You let guys play out of tough spots so they can learn how to get better and improve and progress. You know what I mean? Pulling them out all the time. Yeah, you may got a win here or there, but you set yourself back for the next year. Now you're saying he's the guy. And you expect him to play the whole game now when you're pulling them out every 2 seconds. You know what I mean? So the Dolphins could be an option. They're saying the Broncos could be an option. The Broncos, you know, I don't even think they've ever had a black quarterback, so that would be huge. You know what I mean? You know, John Elway is no longer making those decisions. That's a good thing. So we got to look at that right there. Which team do you think Deshaun Watson should go to? I would think, me personally, you know, the Broncos will be huge. And also, you know, you look at several other teams, you know what I mean? Several other teams. There's some teams that I haven't mentioned that could be part part of that. I was hoping that the Lions would, you know what I mean, trade the everything for him. You know what I mean? But we got Jared Goff. What can I say? But that's Deshaun Watson. The next thing I want to get into is Juju, man. Juju Smith-Schuster, man. He came out and said that he wants to keep his legacy as a Steeler and he wants to stay in Pittsburgh, which is huge. You know what I mean? He hurt himself with the leverage. Being a free agent, you want to, you know, make that team think that you want to leave so they can pay you some more money. We've already seen the way the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know, negotiate with star brothers, you know what I mean, at skill positions. You know what I mean? They don't like to give out a lot of guaranteed money. And we saw what happened with AB. We saw what happened with Le'Veon Bell. So we look at this. The Steelers have contract issues. The GM and owner came out and said that, you know, they'll take Ben back. They want him to restructure to help them with their cap problems. So, you know, it may be possible that the Steelers can keep Juju. But when that money starts getting thrown at him, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. He's from the West Coast. If a West Coast team makes him a good, solid offer, he might just take it. I don't know why he wouldn't. You look at the Steelers, you know, with Big Ben, he is on the downside of his career. You know, do they have a future quarterback? They picked up Haskins. You know, they got Rudolph. Goofy, you know what I mean? But so we don't know really what they're going to do after Ben. So when you look at Juju, if he signs a big deal, he's going to be committing to a question mark at quarterback when Ben leaves. So, you know, there's a lot to think about for Juju and you know, just selling yourself out for this organization, not knowing what the future holds may not be the best situation. So if he does re-sign, I would highly recommend to be maybe a 2 or 3 year deal. Don't do anything 5 to 6 years because you can be stuck in a bad situation where you have no leverage and now the team has the leverage and they can cut you, trade you at any time, or try to get you to restructure while you're stuck maybe in a bad situation and the team's not doing the best. So we got to look at that, man. So Juju, you need to be smart. You need to use your leverage in negotiations. You're young. You know what I mean? You're showing your cards, man. You got to learn how to bluff. You got to learn how to play poker. And you got to learn how to bluff. You know what I mean? Juju, pay attention. I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? So the next thing I want to get into, Antoine Winfield Jr., man. You know what I mean? I kind of snapped on him in an earlier video. You guys can check that out. Scroll my videos. He was continuously trolling Tyreek and the, you know what I mean, and the Kansas City Chiefs out of the Super Bowl, throwing up the peace sign even after the game, even at the parades, you know what I mean? And he was continuously trolling. So what he did with all that attention that he was getting, he decided to, he donated the $7,815 fine to a youth leaders program that the Bucs also matched, which is huge. I love that, man. That was a great move, and that's a great way to spin the press and the media. You know what I mean? You know, you may have a little negative trolling going on, but you had a positive spin on it, and I've already forgot about the trolling. He did a great move by donating that money to, you know, youth in your community, which is huge, and players should always be, you know, celebrated for helping their communities in that manner. And especially in this case, it puts a great bow on something that could have had a bad taste for a lot of people, seeing him troll another NFL player after the game. You know what I mean? So shout out to Antoine Winfield Jr., man. Smart move, smart young man. Maybe his father helped him think about that. He's a former player himself. But that was a great way to put a spin on things by donating that money to a youth leadership program. And then shout out to the Bucs for also matching that. You know what I mean? So Antoine Winfield Jr., solid move, solid move. Next thing I want to get into is the Buccaneers, man. The Buccaneers have a lot going on, man. Tom Brady, the GOAT, man. Jason Licht, the Buccaneers GM, came out and said that we want to keep Brady for as long as he wants to play. You know what I mean? So they better bring out the wheelchair, because I don't think he's trying to go nowhere. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going nowhere. I think he might try to pay another 5 years. You know what I mean? So we got to look at that. The Buccaneers are really, you know, going all in on Brady, as they should. They haven't had a Super Bowl ring in a long time, so they're super high on the situation, and they don't really have another quarterback to succeed him. And the GM did kind of say that maybe Blaine Gabbert could be the future. He's tweaking. We all know Blaine Gabbert ain't nobody's future. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be future on that sideline with a clipboard. You know what I mean? As he should. But another thing I want to get into is Chris Godwin said he's ready for his big payday. You know what I mean? And he will accept the franchise tag. You know what I mean? He thinks he's slick. So over the last 4 years, he made $3.2 million. But the thing is, the franchise tag for 1 year would be about over $16 million. So he would get, you know what I mean, damn near 5 times the money, you know what I mean, for 1 year. So for him, that definitely makes sense. And then he could go maybe into free agency next year and get a huge signing bonus and stack those bags. You know what I mean? A lot of players have been smart, you know, taking that franchise, hitting free agency, and then getting a big amount of guaranteed money and stacking that up. So you can use the franchise tag to your leverage. You can as a player. And I like this move by Godwin. When we look at Godwin, he's really, you know, excelled and moved his way up to the point where he's an elite receiver in the game. There's going to be teams throwing money at him. He's going to be looking at anywhere from $16 to $18 million per year. I don't know if he hits the $20 million. I don't know if teams will, you know, value him that high. But you know what I mean. It's going to be used. The Bucs, you know, they said they want to bring him back, so they're going to have to bring that back. But the Bucs, on the other side of that, they got Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, Ndamukong Suh, Antonio Brown, and Gronk, who they all got to try to sign as well. So the Buccaneers got a lot of moves to try to make, and they may not be able to keep everybody. You know what I'm saying? Shaquille Barrett said he's time for him to have a big payday, and he was a huge factor in playoffs, rushing quarterbacks and getting sacked. So I think the number one priority has to be Shaquille Barrett. After that, you got to look at Godwin and, you know, Suh, and, you know, who knows? I don't know if AB will be back. Maybe Brady can spin that, or who knows? We know Gronk's coming back, though. We know Gronk's going to be a Buck, but we'll see what happens with AB. Just think about AB, you know, he wants to be the guy. He wants to be the number one target. He has a ring at this point, being, you know, another guy in the receiving core. But as we know with AB, he likes being the guy. You know what I mean? So we look at that. Boom. Killed that. And that was my topics for today, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, man. We lit, you know what I'm saying? This is the No Cap Straight Facts podcast. We going crazy every week with the hottest topics in sports. You already know. Stay locked in, my young G's. I know you guys have been waiting for some training videos. I got some fire coming. I'm about to drop the AD story. I'm about to drop you know, this weight gain blueprint for my athletes. This is going to be huge. I'm going to show you how to make these gains, and we're going to go crazy. So make sure you stay locked into the channel, subscribe, and it's a wrap. And I'm out on SDMT.